All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at a spiritual map for 2026, and this one is based on Arreqqana numerology. It's all about how the coming year is shaping up to be this really profound journey of release, especially for one particular archetype, the builder.
And that brings us to the central question for this whole thing. It's a pretty dramatic one, right? I mean, what happens when a person whose entire identity is wrapped up in creating, in structuring, in being in control? What happens when the universe asks them to do the exact opposite? To just let go?
That question really sets the stage for the core theme of the year, what the source material calls a builder's dilemma. And it really is a dilemma. It's this fascinating conflict between two super powerful energies that are going to define your whole experience in 2026.
Okay, so let's start with your core identity. In this system, you're the Valera 8, the builder. Think of it as your spiritual DNA. It's all about structure, integrity, mastery. You see those elements there? Flame and stone? You've got the fire to create and the stability to make things that last. You build things to endure. That's who you are at your core.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This slide just lays out the central challenge so perfectly. On the left, that's you. Structure, control, mastery. But look at the right. That's the energy of 2026, a year 9. And it's asking for the complete opposite. Completion, surrender, grace. It's like the year's asking you to shift from building the walls to opening the gates.
So how in the world do you navigate a clash like that? Well, the source material gives us a central theme, kind of like a North Star to guide you through the year's journey.
And here it is. Wow. The temple you built now teaches you. Just let that sink in for a second. It means all those things you've worked so hard on, your career, your projects, your family, they aren't just things to manage anymore. In 2026, they become your greatest teachers. The focus is shifting from what you're building to what your creations can teach you.
And this breaks that big lesson down into 3 really clear steps. First, you've got to release that tight grip of personal control. Second, you let what you've built become a resource for others to serve as an example. And finally, and this one is huge, you learn to rest into grace, to actually find peace and satisfaction in a cycle coming to a close. It's a journey from pure effort to a sense of ease.
Okay, so to make this whole journey feel a bit more manageable, the year is broken down into 3 distinct phases. Each one has its own vibe, its own focus. Let's walk through them.
So phase 1, the foundation, is how you start the year. This is your time to wrap up old projects. But the real key here is to consciously soften your routine, to actually rest and recover. It's about letting new ideas just bubble up on their own, a time to dream and get inspired without that classic builder's impulse to start laying bricks immediately.
Then we hit the middle of the year, and phase 2 begins. The temple opens. See how the focus shifts outward? This is all about serving with compassion, using your mastery not to control but to guide. It's a time to simplify, declutter, and really listen to that inner voice. And crucially, it's about learning how to gracefully accept thanks and appreciation when it comes your way.
And that brings us to the final phase, graceful release. This is where the core lesson of the year really truly lands. This is the big letting go. It's about sharing your wisdom, maybe becoming a mentor, and consciously slowing down. This isn't about stopping completely, but it's about embracing completion, celebrating the end of a chapter, and actively choosing peace over chasing the next project.
So, you navigate these 3 phases, you do the work. What's the outcome? The source describes it as a pretty profound transformation of who you are at your core. You're moving from a builder to something entirely new.
You start the year with that powerful, deep-seated builder's need to manage and direct and control every little detail of what you've made.
And you end it by seeing that very same work, not as something you own, but as your contribution to the world, a gift.
You start out as the lone architect, totally focused on the blueprint and making sure the structure is sound.
And you become a bridge. I love that. Your legacy isn't just the thing you built anymore. It's how that thing you built connects people and helps them get to a new place.
Of course, a journey like this isn't without its challenges. The source gives a few warnings here. You got to be mindful of the builder's shadow side. That could show up as being too rigid, really resisting letting go. There's also a real risk of burnout if you're over-serving. And finally, you have to watch out for that frantic need to finish everything all at once, instead of just allowing things to end gracefully.
And to wrap up this entire spiritual map, the reading gives us a final blessing, a mantra really, that just perfectly captures the whole lesson of the year.
This is just such a powerful affirmation. It honors both sides of you, right? The part that builds and the part that lets go. It's all about finding peace and completion and seeing every ending not as a loss, but as the doorway to a whole new sense of wonder.
And that leaves us with the one big question to carry forward with you. Take a good, honest look at the temples in your own life, your work, your relationships, the identity you've so carefully built. The question for 2026 isn't what you're going to build next. It's, what are these amazing things you've already created ready to teach you, now that you're finally ready to stop and listen?